Hey families, Pastor Laine here with the Fearless Family 5 minutes of encouragement for the day. And parents, I tell you what, I'm ready for some good news. I don't know about you, but I've had enough of negative. And I just wanted to encourage you parents out there to mark the moment. You know, as you guys have been hunkered down over the last several weeks and forced to stay in your homes with your kids, whether you really wanted to or not, you know, we're all just trying to figure out what this new normal is. But I tell you what, oftentimes during crisis, we tend to react out of fear or anxiety. We really just want to figure out, man, how do we get through this? Well, I want to challenge you all to look forward to 6-9 months. Heck, let's go to Christmas. Enough time for us to reflect back and see how did I respond during that coronavirus? You know, more importantly, what were your kids remember about this time? Whenever they were quarantined in their house for weeks to months, what are they going to remember? You know, it reminds me of a story of one of my buddies back in Texas. His name's Tom, and he loved to take his kids camping. In fact, they roughed it. They tent camped. And one year they upgraded to the pop-up camper. And the girls were so excited. He had 2 daughters, and they hauled that camper across the country and found this perfect camping spot, got there, and girls are excited, and Tom gets that crank out, and he's just cranking, and with each crank, the girls are getting more excited, and he gets about halfway up, and that crank snaps in two. Immediate crisis on hand. Girls are crying. They're thinking the camping trip is over. Tom's got to act fast, and he said, "Hey, you know what, girls? We can rise above this. Let's figure out a way to make this work." So they devised a plan. And they pushed the camper up underneath a tree, and one of the girls shimmied up the tree, and they threw a ratchet strap up from the tree limb down to the top of the camper, and they start ratcheting up, and it's working. And the girls are getting excited again. But if any of you guys know about a ratchet strap, that spool's not very big, and it's only going to raise something maybe this high. Well, sure enough, it had bottomed out, and they only made it about 3/4 of the way up. The girls start that oh worried look again, and all of a sudden they're looking at their father. They're looking at Tom, because they're getting their cues from him about how they are going to react or respond in this moment. Well, I want to report that Tom did a fantastic job. In fact, if you were to ask the girls today what their most favorite family vacation in their lives were, it's going to be that summer whenever they towed that old rickety pop-up camper to a spot out in the woods somewhere, and they spent the entire weekend hunched over, laughing, telling stories, bumping into stuff with their heads, and then laughing more at each other. That was their remembrance of that weekend. So Laine, what does camping have to do with building family identity? Well, think about it. Has there ever been a camping trip that has gone without something going wrong? There's always some crisis, there's always some tragedy that brings us to our knees praying and vowing, I will never do this again. Please, Lord, just get us through it, right? Just get us through it. Well, parents, it's all really a matter of perspective. So if we choose to react in a crisis with fear or anger or frustration, our children are going to take their cues from us. That's why maybe some of you hate camping today. You remember when you were a kid and you took your cues from your parents. Parents, this is your camping moment. We don't want you to just survive. We want you to thrive. It's not a destination. It's a journey. This is a moment to remember and to mark. Remember back in Joshua 4 when he had the leaders of Israel place those 12 stones out in the middle of the Jordan as a remembrance of when God was going to hold back the floodwaters so the Ark of the Covenant could pass on dry land. Why was it that he asked those leaders to do that? Well, it was for the children. It was for the children to remember, to mark a moment of how God led them through that crisis. Wow. Parents, what is your stone? Your memorial about how God used you to lead your family through this crisis. Man, I want your kids to be able to look back on that year way back in 2020 as, man, that was the time when we really started to sit down and eat meals as a family together. We never used to do that before. I want them to look back and say, and this is the time when my parents chose not to escape the craziness at home, but instead they engaged and they got on the floor and played silly games with us. Yeah, that was the time when my parents started doing these family devotionals. This was the time when my parents really became my primary spiritual influence. See, parents, we want to make sure that we're reacting with love and with confidence and not reacting out of fear or anxiety through this crisis, because your kids can smell that coming from a mile away. Parents, give your kids a positive memory of 2020 as one of the best moments of their life. Parents, don't miss this moment. Mark it. Be blessed. Y'all have a great day.